Mr. Greg Jennings back with us now. Greg, of the two, which quarterback is under more pressure to lead their team to a Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson?
This is easy. It's Russell Wilson. It's simple. There's been two teams that their defense has allowed 25 points in the first 3 games, yet they start the season 3-0. Those two teams in 2018, Nick, your Kansas City Chiefs, and now the Seattle Seahawks. We know what happened with the Kansas City Chiefs. Their offense was special, but their defense blew it. They didn't even give them a chance to get to the Super Bowl. This is something that the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson will have to overcome, and it will always be an Achilles heel, a self-inflicted wound, when you can't stop the opponent and you're asking your quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns, which he's done in the last 2 consecutive weeks, 14 overall, which is an NFL league record to start the season. It's unsustainable. So I don't see how the Seahawks and Russell Wilson can sustain this. He has the most pressure because of his defense and the load that's on him.
Greg, that's a great stat that I didn't know about, the 3-0 allowing 25-plus points. But it goes in line, Brandon, with what I said earlier this week, which is this Seahawks team, the team it reminds me of is those 2018 Chiefs. And you do wonder if, like those 2018 Chiefs, the defense is going to hold them back. But I'm looking at this from a different pressure perspective, not as far as who on a week-to-week basis needs to do more for their team to win. I look at it from this perspective, Brandon. These are your 2 best players in the league, I believe. And quietly, Russell Wilson, forget being in a Super Bowl, hasn't been in a conference championship game since the 2014 season. Meanwhile, Patrick Mahomes has gotten at least that far in each of his first 2 seasons as a pro. So this year, with the let Russ cook narrative, which is a great one, the Russ hasn't gotten an MVP vote and everyone's mad about it. You're picking him for MVP. A lot of smart people are. You're picking them to go to the Super Bowl. I feel like if the Seahawks fall short this year, it is going to, fairly or not, be more of a referendum on Russ, even though he's carried them. Meanwhile, Mahomes has built up a little more recent equity because of what they've done the last couple years. So I also think there's more pressure on Russ, but for a slightly different reason, Brandon, than Greg was talking about.
Yeah, no, I like this legacy talk. It's an interesting discussion. You know, you got to think about Russell Wilson. You know, what is that, year 2? He was what, you know, a yard away from solidifying his second Super Bowl, or taking home his second Super Bowl. That was year 3. That was 5 years ago. You know, and I think in that moment, his legacy could have been cemented right there. A lot of football has happened since then. You're right. This is more on Russell Wilson than it is Mahomes. Mahomes, he's young. He has so much time because to get that second Super Bowl, that third Super Bowl, and I hate to talk about it this way because it's so hard to win a Super Bowl. It's so hard to make it to a championship game. It's so hard to make it to the playoffs, and we're talking about it as if it's so easy, and it's not. But when we talk about legacy, you got to look at Russell Wilson. We all know that he's great. We've been saying it for years, and the entire country is behind him right now. But when I think about Russell Wilson, I kind of put him in that Kobe category. Kobe, he had to break away from Shaq to really be Kobe. And it's Russell Wilson. They made the move 2 years ago. They broke away from the Legion of Boom. They broke up that team.
Exactly.
Because that was the formula that got them to those first 2 Super Bowls. So if I'm Russell Wilson, and I know how he thinks, I was around him, everything he does, he wants to be great. There's no doubt in my mind that Russell Wilson's looking at Mahomes. He's hearing us talk about Lamar Jackson week in and week out. Even Aaron Rodgers, he's saying, well, why aren't you guys talking about me? So I think that the pressure's on Russell for that very reason, is that he knows he can be in that discussion, and he knows that the Seattle Seahawks gave him the team. They broke up the Legion of Boom and said, okay, Russ, go cook. So I think, you know, at the end of this year, he will be the MVP. That was my pick. But when it comes to the pressure, it got to be Russ.
Brandon, it is a great comparison. The Kobe doing it without Shaq. because Kobe became the best player. He was a better player post-Shaq than with Shaq, just like Russ is a far better player now than he was with the Legion of Boom and Marshawn Lynch. But the great departed Kobe Bryant needed those championships post-Shaq to validate everything. And if they don't, if they don't get to the Super Bowl this year, I would almost be certain it's because the defense is the problem, not because of Russ.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's not how the sports analysis works. It's going to fall on the quarterback's head, and Russ needs to lead them on a deep playoff run while they are a Russ-based team rather than a defensive-oriented Marshawn Lynch run-based team to solidify himself as what I believe, Brandon believes, I think Greg believes he is, and you as well, an all-time great quarterback. But while he needs another run in order, in this iteration of the team, to solidify that, I believe.
I'll throw a quick question back to you, Greg. If he had 2 Super Bowls, would you put him above Mahomes, or would you put him on another level? Just quick.
I would definitely put him on another level. I wouldn't put him above Mahomes because what Mahomes is showing us.
All right. So here's the thing, and I'm going to whisper this so all of America can't hear it, just most of America. He probably should have 2.
Audience.
You should have run the ball there. And Malcolm Butler, you know, we didn't get lucky. We planned on it. But you should have 2. And he was executing a bad play, but you should have 2. So the idea that he doesn't sit back there and be like, guys, I know I have 1, but I really should have 2, and we all know it. He never says it. Even like right after the game, he never talks about it. He should have 2. And Greg, to your point, in another reversal weird thing, I think their terrible defense actually helps them. Mahomes is having fun out there playing, but they can win games on their defense. Poor Russell Wilson has to throw 5 touchdowns. It's like I feel like if they were swimming, for example, Patrick Mahomes is like a fast swimmer. Russell Wilson is also a fast swimmer. He's like, well, I'm getting chased by sharks. I have to do this. I have no choice. I'm not doing this for fun. So if I swim faster, it's because my life is in danger. I actually think, Greg, their terrible defense helps his MVP case.
Well, because he's being chased by sharks, makes him under more pressure, correct?
Yep. Exactly.
Well, the defense is right. There's a lot of sharks. I get lost. There's also jellyfish. You know, the analogy starts to fall apart.
That's exactly right. But Greg, let me ask you guys a question real quick. Just real quick to Wild's point, because I think we all agree he came as close to winning a Super Bowl as any player ever has without winning it. Maybe you could argue the Bills, the Norwood miss. But even if he had that Super Bowl, I still think he's under this type of pressure because of the point Brandon and I was making, which is that was a different team with a different philosophy, with different personnel that was not based on what Russ can do. So even if he had those 2 Super Bowls, I still feel it'd still be 5 years, going on 6 years since he's been in the conference championship game, and the team not having, we wouldn't have seen them have high-level success when they are based on Russell Wilson.
It's great for TV. I mean, this discussion is great for TV, but at the end of the day, he did something that it's hard for people to do. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl already. He will be a Hall of Famer.
Sure.
So I don't think Russ walks around with the pressure of, oh, I have to win a Super Bowl. And I know we're not saying it, but that's why I'm just people out there watching us. It's like, well, we're having this discussion because it's great. But at the end of the day, Russell Wilson's not walking around thinking, I have to win a Super Bowl to cement my legacy. I don't think he's doing that. Well, I know he's not doing that.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.